I think RG3 will be back on his this year. I look to them as being a solid 8-8, 9-7 type of team.
I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. Things are changing in Dallas, and I don't think Jerry Jones likes it one bit, as we can tell. But you know what? He's actually letting it happen, and I think that's the most important thing. Times are changing in Dallas. And I will do my bold prediction right now. The Dallas Cowboys select who next year? None other than Brett Hundley, quarterback, UCLA, to replace Tony Romo. Tony's getting up there in age. Let's not fool ourselves. They're going to draft a quarterback to replace him that year. He will sit the year after they draft him. And literally, the second they draft Hundley, Romo will be the bench quarterback.
Bold prediction, Jake. Not making
bold.
A fake prediction. Oh, bold. I thought you said bowl. I'm like, the Cowboys aren't making the playoffs. That includes college.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Oh, sort of.
Yeah. Hundley over Romo, Dallas in third and 8-8. So we go to first place. We won't go with Jake because Jake didn't give us a conclusive answer. Carl, who do you have in first?
In the first place, I have the Philadelphia. I mean, there's the New York Football Giants. There's the Washington Football Team. I almost want to say the Philadelphia Football Eagles, but that just kind of sounds wrong. I got the Eagles on top. You know what? The East is almost stable for 1 year, maybe. Or maybe it's like a snake draft and it'll come right back around. But this year, I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning the division. I think that the NFL defense is still going to take a couple years to catch up to Chip Kelly's offense. Mm-hmm. It's a really incredible offensive system. And you know what? Their defense will do enough to keep them as a good playoff team.
Okay, I've got them at 10-6 as well. Now we move on to the NFC North because Jake still didn't give me a conclusive answer.
Hey, I was giving it to you.
Jake, do you have a conclusive answer? Can you give me your first team fourth? First team fourth.
Week 3, Washington will beat Philadelphia. And then in Week 16, Washington will again beat Philadelphia, which means they win the tiebreaker. Philadelphia Cheese takes a step back and does not win the division. Redskins, 9-7.
Can I open up our first mini debate for this? How is Washington's defense going to come anywhere near stopping Chip Kelly?
Carl, normally this is Philadelphia cheesecakes. Yeah, that's where I thought you were going to have me at. Normally, Carl's the one who's like, speed it up, speed it up, speed it up. But if no one wants to start a debate, Carl just sits there and says, okay.
Cheesecakes.
I have my reasons. Cheesesteak, that's right. That's right. I do have my reasons, but I know that if I give Noah any reasons, we'll be here for quite some time. I'll just say
guys, it's just because he knows that I beat him in predictions.
Revamp the defensive line, and I think that Robert Griffin III will come back stronger, and I expect bounce-back years from guys like Orakpo and Taylor.
Orakpo had a good year last year, so I don't
bounce back even stronger.
You can't bounce back if you play well. That's just continued rise.
Weller? Are we really?
Weller? Did you just say Weller? Did you just say Weller? Did you just say Weller? No, you just said Weller. You just said Weller. Look.
Mute me. You will not mute me.
He said Weller. All my fans out there, if you think Weller deserves to be muted,
no one's muting me.
Okay. Look. I'm not going to go on debating.
Carl, if you mute me
but
one more
it is time to go on. Shh. They were arguing, so I've muted both of them for right now. We will go when we get into the NFC South. You can unmute when we get into the NFC South, which is where we're going now. We can't have any more of this dilly-dally. So, NFC South, and we will start with the last place teams. Jake, who you got in last place?
Dilly-dallying, and thus finding themselves in last place in that division, would be the Atlanta. Oh, I don't really know the tiebreaker, but Atlanta and Carolina both go 7-9. Sorry,
Jay. I feel like you have a lot of really good teams. I don't know how this is all coming out to 500.
Have you added up your numbers yet? I absolutely have. They're both 7-9. Look, I have. Jake, how would the listener look?
In the AFC, I had 2 teams going 4-12, 1 team going 3-13, 1 team going 5-11, 3 teams going 8-8, 9-7 was good enough to make the playoffs.
Jake, in the AFC, I had 2 3-13, 1 5-11, 1 4-12, and 1 4-12, and I still don't have as good records.
That's 2 4-12s.
I know. I just didn't look at it straight through. That's my point. How is this happening? We will see. Jake must have some pretty bad teams in some of the next divisions. So, Jake, you have Atlanta on a potential tiebreaker with Carolina. Since he just named off his bottom 2 teams, I have Atlanta in last place. Carolina. Oh, but now this is a tiebreaker. I won't say with who. At 7 and 9. Carl.
Oh, jeez. Now I feel kind of bad for liking the Panthers. You guys don't make me feel bad about my picks. It makes me feel also conscious about my NFL picking. I got the Falcons as the worst team in this division.
Yeah, what about your second worst team?
Oh, my second worst team? Oh, that's the Buccaneers. You guys like them a lot. I understand that many people like them as a rising team.
I have them as a tiebreak with Carolina and winning it.
I'm sorry. The reason I picked them third, and it all comes back to the second place team, is I don't think the Panthers have gone down enough. Like, people are acting like the Panthers are 4 wins worse.
I think they are. I think they lost their whole wide receiver. They have no wide receiver. I would like to say the reason I have Tampa Bay not making it is not because they don't have the players to do it. I think it's because, first of all, I like the Saints a lot this year. And I think there is going to be some growing pain with Lovie Smith. You don't just come in and be amazing. That's not how it works with a new head coach. Even the Bears, they had amazing offense. I think the defense will improve so fast. But in terms of the offense for the Buccaneers, I think it's going to lag behind really, really fast. I think it's going to be a poor start offensively, a poor year offensively. Though I do think their defense will show a lot of improvement. And I do think their offense will show some improvement as the year goes along. It's just tough when you have a new coach who runs things differently against a division filled with mostly coaches all coaches who have coached there for quite some time, or at least more than a year and have experience. That experience factor, I think, hurts them. And Jake, I don't feel so hard right now. You gotta stop messaging this. Jake,
I did not.
You've been messaging some stuff, Jake. You're messaging some stuff.
This is like Greg Schiano rigging the captain boat all over.
You know what?
Third place.
Let's move on.
Second place, third.
Second place team in the NFC South. How about that, Noah?
NFC East South.
I said South. I said straight South.
Oh, NFC straight South? There's a straight South and a curved South.
No, we're talking about the straight South. Come on.
Carl, who comes in second place, third?
Second place, third. The second place team in the NFC South is the Carolina Panthers.
Jake, second place, third. I know who it is already.
This is my biggest pick. At 10-6, the New Orleans Saints go marching into second.
That, Jake, you just drew crickets. You just drew crickets with the pun. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
New Orleans.
What, no Southampton fans out there?
Second place, Buccaneers. I already said that. First place. One of the best, if not the best, offensive team in football. Led by MVP candidate Drew Brees. 3 legitimate running backs. How are they going to get tired? They have Brandon Cooks, Marcus Colston, Kenny Stills. It's a deep wide receiver group. And when you have Drew Brees, you're immediately a great offensive team, Jake, and you know it. And you know it, Jake. When Drew Brees... Jake, if they were one of the best offenses last year, will they not be better this year? Think about it.
Can I hear? No, Drew Brees is great. He is. But one of the best offensive teams in the National Football League...
Besides the Bears, the Packers, and the Broncos, name a team better offensively.
Oh, I can...
Oh, I would take down the Bears, but I would bring up the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys have a chance of matching that.
Oh.
Yes, sir. Yes,
scoring offense, the Cowboys will put up a whole lot of points.
You want to talk about points for last year?
I would take the Redskins.
You know what? I'll agree. Actually, no. Put the Eagles in there too. You want to take the Redskins? You know the Redskins were about 80 points off of New Orleans last year.
You know the Redskins quarterback plus last year.
It was RG3 for much of it.
Yeah, it was RG3 for most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake.
Yeah, Jake. Jake, come on now. Let's get our facts right.
It was?
RG3 was the quarter. RG3 wasn't out for the season. I don't know why people keep saying RG3 was out for most of the season. He wasn't.
It feels like he was out for the season.
Because he didn't do anything last year. He was bad.
Dude, Robert
Coming out.
third.
Look.
Was out 4 games.
What?
Yeah, he was just bad, Jake. He had a horrible sophomore year. And I think
He was injured. Come on.
New Orleans look. Here's the thing.
They still have a running game.
Yeah, they have three. They do. They have 3 running backs.
None of them adequate starters.
Why? Are you out of your mind? No, we're talking about New Orleans.
Then in my mind.
Pierre Thomas is actually a good running back.
By the way, RG3 played 13 games.
Oh my God, Cole, we got
By
it.
the way, New Orleans restructured their offensive line, so that's going to need some time to get meshing.
Oh, and Tampa Bay won't need it when Tampa Bay lost their Jake. But you have to apply, Jake. What? No, Jake interrupted. Jake interrupted, and for that he's muted. No, Jake, you cannot talk big. Jake, stop. You can't talk big smack about not interrupting and then interrupting when me and Cole are both saying stuff. Yes, you did. Cole saying.
Okay, and we're both coming down now.
Oh my God, this is absolutely ridiculous. I would like to say that when we get in a big fight, we apologize. We try to not interrupt, and I've tried not to, and I do not appreciate when people do not try. I would like to say this. Jake, do you not think that Tampa Bay has to work on their offensive line after they lost Donald Penn, the leader of that offensive line? Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, well,
There we go.
If I'm not allowed to answer.
So no, but you can't just apply it to New Orleans and say it doesn't work that way for Tampa Bay.
I wasn't.
Now,
I wasn't.
they have. By the way, Mark Ingram apparently, from what I've read, is actually starting. He's starting to actually become a not draft bust anymore. Scouts actually think that he's actually doing a lot better right now and could potentially right that ship. And Pierre Thomas, let's not remember, he's had some pretty good years, and he's still a good running back. Kyrie Robinson's a dynamic pass catcher, though he's not great at running the ball. He's a good pass catching back, and when you have 3 solid backs, that means they won't exhaust as easily, which means you can rotate them in and out, and you won't get that wear and tear, and you won't have as many injuries to the running back position, which Tampa Bay may have with Doug Martin, who they're going to give the majority of the carries to. But that's my opinion. But at the end of the day, it's a prediction show, and we're not going to change anybody's opinion during that show. But we will let Jake have his moment of stardom.
Thank you. First of all, Tampa Bay obviously needs to work on their offensive line too. It's even newer than New Orleans. But there is something to be said for one of the best defenses. If you look at this team, if you look at who they've brought
on paper, though.
And what happened about interrupting?
Yeah, I interrupted. Look, I would like to say this. Jake has sparked a torrent.
No, you just interrupted and let Jake finish.
Jake opened up a torrent. He opened up Pandora's box.
Okay. No, it doesn't matter. He still gets to finish his point. You made a comment on it.
Okay.
Jake, finish your point.
I am. Lovie Smith is one of the best defensive coaches in the game. They have a strong secondary. They have a great defensive line. You have guys like Levante David on that team. You brought an all-Toronto burner. This is a fantastic defense, and that's really necessary in the NFC South.
And Jake, how do you know this? Because they actually haven't played together yet, and you'd have no idea how they're going to mesh. At all. And this is actually, you know what? New Orleans may have brought in Jairus Byrd, but that's their only change. Tampa Bay completely rebuilt this defense. Even if they played in the preseason. Preseason first string isn't important. First preseason, second, third, and fourth, and fifth is the important part. Also, Jake, when I interrupted, I said 3 words. You went on a tangent. And Jake, no, you're raising your hand. I see. I'll get you after I make my comment. Tampa Bay's got a good team, but once again, it's on paper. New Orleans is actually, you know what? They don't have a great defense. They're solid, and everybody already knows that. They already had that last year. Tampa Bay's bringing in Alteron Werner, who hasn't played with them yet. They also bring in Clinton McDonald, who hasn't played with them yet. Michael Johnson, who hasn't played with them yet. They have a new head coach. They bring Josh McCown, who hadn't played with them yet. They have a new rookie who will be a starting wide receiver in Mike Evans. Evan Dietrich Smith is a new center, and when you bring in a new center, that means that he has to relearn everything because every team has a different snap count. Of course, without Donald Penn, you lose the leader, though I will say they did just add Logan Mankins, which is a big upgrade, but still, he has to learn how to play on that offensive line as well.